Welcome! Welcome. Now, what if I told you that Yusei Fudo from Yugioh 5Ds and Rin Akamura from Blue Exorcist have an interesting chance to be DLC in Jump Force? And I say interesting chance to be DLC in Jump Force. A possibility. Yes, they're both eligible. But what if I also told you that's thanks partly due to the inclusion of Boruto Uzumaki. Now, that sounds a bit crazy, and you're probably like, whoa, what's the connection? Well, that's because it's meant to slightly surprise you. In this video, I really want to go over what qualifies as a guest character in this game, and to do my part in educating people on the who are just generally unaware of these type of things, who owns what, and what can never be in this game, period. So, forgive me if you already understand most of this stuff. For first part of the video, we're going to use that basic understanding as our basis and move upwards to figure out what qualifies and who qualifies as guest characters in Jump Force. Starting with the basics. Now, I'm sure all of you might even be a big fan of Fairy Tail, Attack on Titan, and Sailor Moon, the classic Sailor Moon. All these are owned by Kodansha, a different and rival company to Shueisha, in which Shueisha owns Shonen Jump. Most of you should understand that. 100%. No. Now, can these characters get in the game regardless of that? Absolutely not. There is no way Shonen Jump, a celebration of Shonen Jump, mind you, is a celebratory title. Probably to protect it from questions like that as well. And they don't want a rival choice to be in their game, period. Unless it's a versus title, you know what I mean? This is another example of another batch of characters that are famous, or you may know, or have nostalgia for, like Zatch Bell and Yuhasha and Detective Conan. They cannot be represented at all. They're done in Weekly Shonen Sunday, which is owned by Shogakukan. So if you like any of those series and you're just unaware of this whole thing, those characters from those specific rival companies are never happening, and they don't even qualify to be a guest character in this game. So that's our basis. It needs to be owned by Shueisha, right? But what about having history with Shueisha? There's one very interesting thing here about Shaman King. Shaman King is owned by Kodansha, but for most of his life ran in Weekly Shonen Jump, started in Weekly Shonen Jump, ended briefly in Weekly Shonen Jump, and even been featured in Weekly Shonen Jump video games like Jump Superstars and Jump Ultimate Stars. That's fucking nuts to have a title that people love to be associated with Shonen Jump for most of his lifespan, now to be owned by Kodansha. Now, if the opportunity ever arose for Shaman King to be in Jump Force, would he count? Would he be the special exception to the rule that needs to be owned by Shueisha? And I think yes and no, but mostly no. Definitely. I wouldn't say 0%, but I'm not foolish enough to say anything higher than 1. Shaman King is owned by Kodansha and is not owned by Shueisha. It's not going to happen. However, the series has every right to be in Shonen Jump. Jump Force, my bad. Because of its history mostly being involved with Weekly Shonen Jump and even being involved with Weekly Shonen Jump projects. But we know it can happen because it's owned by Shueisha. So we have to work within the confines of Shueisha. So where do we begin? With the other magazines that Shueisha owns? Like the Weekly Playboy. There's some manga in there that I've known about. There's also fashion magazines that they run, which I'm definitely sure there's no fucking manga running in that shit. There's Young Jump. There's stuff with that you may have heard of. V-Jump. There's characters running in there. And in fact, Boruto even runs in V-Jump, which I'm sure I'll mention again. But what about the other stuff that they own? What about the popular things? You see, Bulla's hairstyle from Dragon Ball GT, mind you, and Goku Black's costume is in the game, and some of you may have got it during the raid boss and Jump Force. That right there, and alongside the inclusion of Super Saiyan Blue, Vegeta, Goku, and Golden Frieza, should let you know something very special. They don't give a fuck if it's popular, and if it's popular and it didn't fucking originate in Weekly Shonen Jump, but it has a connection to something that's really popular that did, it can slip its way through the cracks to get inside the game. That's the proof right there. So with that logic in mind, Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, 5Ds, and fucking even Zexal could get into like that. The popularity of One Punch Man is owned by Shueisha. He's a contender for being a guest character. Saitama, maybe, well, no, that's Saitama, but maybe like Genos or something. And just look at that. I've showed you this for a reason. Yusei and Jaden even appeared a few times on the cover with Yugi on Weekly Shonen Jump. Yeah, that's a American version, but the point is there nonetheless. Obviously, Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds and Yu-Gi-Oh! GX are not seen as on equal footing as Yu-Gi-Oh! And as a priority, but they're more so seen as a continuation and legacy of Yu-Gi-Oh! And it's because of that legacy, it's the reason why they can slip through the cracks. So, to get into a Weekly Shonen Jump celebration without truly being in a Weekly Shonen Jump, you have to have a decent amount of legacy, or a huge amount of popularity, and just having the luxury of being owned by Shueisha, at least to be represented in this game. So if we see a One Punch Man costume in this game, I'm just saying, I won't be so surprised. So I mean, Kinnikuman is one of those other things I could get in as a guest character. Well, mostly Kinnikuman Montaro. I said this once before, I believe that Kinnikuman Montaro can get into the same means Boruto did. It upholds a legacy of a manga that originally ran a Weekly Shonen Jump that helped it out. I mean, Kinnikuman is known to be the grandfather of battle manga, of shonen battle manga. It has such a stature and importance in the manga world. Naruto, well, not as much, but it's really fucking popular. So Boruto is a legacy holder. Mostly got in because of that, not because at the time he was Weekly Shonen Jump. He mostly got in because he's the son of Naruto, and he upholds Naruto's legacy even after it ends. Kinnikuman could do the same thing. So, and well, that's pretty much it. I mean, this is a breakdown of everything we kind of talked about in this video, and pretty much a guide to figuring out how illegible a character or series is. If it can't reach the point of, if it's owned by Shueisha, it can't be in at all. If it's owned by Shueisha and didn't start and end in Weekly Shonen Jump, it's gonna be what I would technically call a technical guest character in the game. So this is the standards I set to find the legibility, and I suggest that to anyone, if you're gonna want to figure out, that you use this same structure. And the whole point of this video is to inform. If you do watch the video and you may be familiar with all this stuff, it's mostly to the unfamiliar, and is more to centered towards that, and the discussion of what qualifies as a guest character. I figured it's just this type of video I wanted to make. There's always going to be more Jump Force discussions, but I always feel like there's always going to be people who just genuinely don't know about this, and they need to be informed. And this video is pretty much me doing my part on that type of thing, informing. However, there's always a chance I got something wrong, and if you have anything to correct me about, or if I have anything to say about the video, please let me know in the comment section down below. My name is SHINTONE, and until the next confirmation, I will be seeing you. Peace.